Breathe deep. Imagine your legs more limber in Duluth Trading Double Flex Denim. Envision euphorically squatting for that can of suds, bending for your toolbox in a state of bliss, lunging for your laser level on a whole new level. Relax and allow the flex to fill you with ability. Find your inner flex in Double Flex Denim only at Duluth Trading.
When the McLaren F1 team counts on speed, they count on Dropbox Dash. Dash finds what you need fast across all your work apps so you can focus on what matters. Learn more at dropbox.com/McLaren F1.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Now last week, we had a little bit of fun. We were talking about medical films that kind of centered around the medical profession, whether it be doctor-based or medical emergency-based or whatever. So we're continuing our look at the, I guess, rescue careers, you know, those first responders, the people who are really the true heroes of our day and age, by looking at films focused on fire and firefighters. And here to join me, my fiery wife, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
Oh, that was nice. We're going to make it hot tonight.
We're going to make it hot. Hot in the hot tub.
On fuego.
So this may feel like a very narrow topic, but there are a ton of films that are fire, emergency, or firefighter based. And I'll be honest, I was finding it hard to come up with a pass for this one. So it was very, my keep, I knew right away. I knew absolutely right away. My watch, it was like, oh yeah, no, that one. Pass was tough. Did you find it difficult finding films for this topic?
Not at all. I think I actually pitched this with films in mind. So this was probably the easiest and yet most challenging, and more on that later.
This is how we do things around here, right? We come up with a topic, not based on whom this might be interesting. It's based off, do I already know what I'm going to talk about? Because we like to play on easy mode here at Keep Watch Pass. So we're playing on easy mode occasionally. Sometimes it's tough. I found medical films tougher than fire films. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick 3 films each. A keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is one that we hold in absolute high regard. The watch is one that's only but a 2-alarm fire. And the pass is one that it's already smoldering and snuffed out. So Carrie, I'm going to start with you. What is your keep fire pick?
I'm going to put it out there. You know, I'm a John Cena fan.
I knew this was coming right away.
You know I like the sweet candy man, John Cena. Okay, to rewind, he always starts with a gruff, hard shell exterior. And then he kind of melts during the movie and you warm up to him. But this movie is my favorite John Cena movie ever. And he's done some great films.
Ever?
Yeah. He's done some really good films.
Ever?
It is the ensemble cast of Playing with Fire.
Ever?
John Cena, favorite. Bar none, favorite.
More than Jackpot.
Period. End of story, favorite.
More than the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And Head of State was fun too.
Yeah, it was. It was a ton of fun. Doesn't qualify. Can't talk about it.
Favorite John Cena movie. And again, it's not just about John Cena. It's the ensemble cast.
Okay, I'm going to ask you then, is it better than the Peacemaker series?
Ooh, that is not a fair question.
No.
However, you know what it is about this movie is again, John Cena starts out as a really by the book firefighter, and he follows the rules and he runs a tight ship at his firehouse. It is just such a heartwarming story. These kids were orphaned and I guess squatting in a cabin that catches on fire. And they don't have a family yet. At the beginning, they're kind of like, oh yeah, our parents are away on vacation and they'll be coming for us. And then the story kind of gets old and eventually they have to come to terms that they're orphaned and that's all they have. And so, like they become a part of the firehouse, and the firefighters, the ensemble cast are just wonderful.
Right. You've got John Leguizamo, who plays Rodrigo in this.
Love.
You have Tyler Mane, who plays Axe.
Yes. My Little Pony.
Okay.
He doesn't say much, but when he sings, oh my God, it makes that scene.
For the record, just from that alone, that means he's already said more than some of his past roles, including as Sabretooth in X-Men and as Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie directed Halloween films.
How do you get a role where you don't speak? That is
Michael
easy
Myers.
Money. Yeah.
Well, what was it? I think it was like Christopher Lee was paid, it was like $250,000 for a film when he had like one line or something like that. Like, that could work.
The best part of Axe in this movie is that he literally just grunts and walks around holding an axe. And that is his entire character. So not a stretch from Michael Myers. When I say that this movie is all about breaking down the hard exterior of this group of firefighters, I mean, John Leguizamo, like, come on, he is just so sweet to begin with. I mean, he is very much.
Is he so sweet? Do you remember Violent Night?
In this movie.
Do you remember Summer of Sam?
Okay. In this movie. Do
you remember Spawn?
He's between him and Keegan-Michael Key, the two of them are just like, there's such a juxtaposition of from John Cena and Axe. Like, they're so kind. And then you've got like the gruff two of them, and their personalities always are kind of clashing, but seem to fit.
Right. And keep in mind, you also have Brianna Hildebrand in this, who of course played Negasonic Teenage Warhead in Deadpool. So yeah, you get all your comic book references out of this one film. See, I knew what my keep was right away. It's not this film. It's not Playing with Fire. Playing with Fire isn't on my list at all. But your damn right, Backdraft is my keep pick. You want to talk about a fantastic ensemble cast. First of all, it's Kurt Russell. You can never go wrong with Kurt Russell. Doesn't matter what you make. You could literally make a spoken word stage performance about the happy little accidents that Bob Ross would do on his paintings. And if it's narrated by Kurt Russell, done. I'm in. Kurt Russell is always for the win. William Baldwin's really good in this. I love Jennifer Jason Leigh in this. She's fantastic. Robert De Niro in an underrated role. Donald Sutherland. Donald freaking Sutherland. In such a small role. Just like one little scene. One scene. And Donald Sutherland owns it. Just owns it. And the dynamic between him and Robert De Niro in this one scene tells you more about De Niro's character than any amount of exposition whatsoever. And Donald Sutherland is so good. But not just the film itself, and not just the fact that it really is a salute to firemen around the world. The Hans Zimmer score for this. This is one of those score albums that I had on CD. And you'll remember I used to carry around a bunch of CDs during our college days. So just in case I needed some music for a piece that we were doing in college, I had every single conceivable style of music available in my backpack. Thank you for helping me bring that around college, by the way. But yeah, This Hans Zimmer score, this is one of my favorite 90s film scores of all time. It's up there with the Bram Stoker's Dracula soundtrack. It's up there with the Last of the Mohicans score. I can deal with the pop songs that are on there, but the score was exactly why I bought the album. I don't know why they felt the need to make a Backdraft 2, but Backdraft is definitely my keep. I'm going to have a little bit of fun with my watch pick here because I know we have watched this time and time again. And because they were into cars, of course, they were going to be into planes. Now, the first Planes film, I could take it or leave it. Not a big deal, right? It's just like Airborne, the first Cars movie. But Planes, Fire, and Rescue, that film was so good for an animated film. And yeah, I get it. It's airborne cars because like the planes have the eyes as well. But this film, kind of like how Cars 2 took what you already knew and put it into a different situation and it worked as a spy film, Planes, Fire, and Rescue took those characters and put them into a pretty... I found that film was darker than I expected it to be, but the first Planes film did nothing for the kids. The boys loved Planes, Fire, and Rescue. It was captivating. It was a really good film. And I know we watched it a bunch of times. Like, does it still resonate with you?
It's so funny that you mention it because it was my pass.
What?
It was my pass because I didn't feel it was as good as the Cars franchise. I kind of felt like...
Oh, it's not as good as the Cars franchise, but I don't think Planes, Fire, and Rescue was bad by any stretch of the imagination. And definitely not bad enough to end a franchise.
No, but in comparison, I would pass 100 times over watching Planes, Fire, and Rescue versus watching Cars. Like, I still enjoy watching the Cars movie, specifically the second one. I really enjoyed the spy aspect and the fact that they're going through like different parts of the world. And there was that whole like tension between Mater and Lightning McQueen. And yes, you're absolutely right. It had a bit of a darker tone. It had a really good storyline, but it wasn't enough. I just felt like they slapped a face on a different vehicle and were kind of trying to ride out the coattails of the Cars franchise fame and popularity.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then, because yes, I will admit that the first Planes film definitely was flying on the Cars coattails, for sure. I completely agree. Had the first Planes film not existed, and this film was the first Planes film, do you think you would feel different about it?
I don't think so. I think they couldn't touch trains exactly because, well, Thomas. But it just kind of felt like, okay, do we really need a talking plane movie? And I see why they did it. I mean, marketing, merchandising.
Well, of course, right? You got to sell the toys. I understand.
We have the planes.
We do have the planes,
We
yes.
have the cars. We have the hauler. We have, Mack truck full of the cars that you can put inside and carry it around like a little suitcase.
See,
we have it all.
Here's the interesting thing. Like the first Cars film, yes, there's a sweet, kind of nostalgia to that film. And I get it, right? And yeah, we've already talked about Cars 2 on this podcast years ago. Like it was what, episode 20 or something like that? Like a long time ago, we talked about Cars 2. Like forever ago. Whew.
Seems like forever ago we've watched it.
I know, right? Like we covered Cars 2 in our very first year of the podcast, and we're in year 4 now. Yikes. We've been around a long time. But Cars 3, meh. I'm really kind of meh on Cars 3. Although I did like Mater's Tall Tales. But I think that's the thing. Cars 2 and Mater's Tall Tales did something different with these cars with eyes, right? Planes, Fire, and Rescue did something different with these planes with eyes. And maybe it's because, I look back at that time because this was when the boys were discovering their favorite shows and movies. I remember our oldest was also into watching like Rescue Heroes at the time. And one of his favorite episodes was this episode called Firestorm, where like there was this like massive forest fire and the rescue heroes had to go and actually go in and stop the fires. Like this is peak. Our oldest son loved watching firefighting cartoon kind of shows and movies. So maybe it's the nostalgia of watching it with him at that time. But I can see if you're tying it to cars, then I can see why it's a pass. But if you're holding it on its own, it's my watch for sure. So now that we've got your pass out of the way, what's your watch?
Okay, so the backstory is, that I have very deep respect for Steve Buscemi as an actor, as a person. I think he is a fantastic human being. Really interesting that Steve Buscemi, in his previous life to being an actor in Mr. Pink, was a firefighter in New York. And there's stories that during 9/11, he went and volunteered at his old firehouse, Station 55 in New York City, and rolled up his sleeves and helped. He, just incredible. And so I started thinking, and when we talked about fire movies, I'm like, there has to be a movie out there where Steve Buscemi plays a firefighter. Right. There has to be, you would think. It was hard to find. I had to do some digging and I had to get creative. And so I'll admit, this is not a movie that I have seen, but it is definitely on my watch list.
So it's not your watch pick, it's your to-watch pick.
It is. It's definitely a to-watch because not only does it have Steve Buscemi in it, but it's also a Pete Davidson written and directed movie. It is The King of Staten Island. And the concept is kind of a story about a slacker. This young guy who's living in his parents' basement. His father, a firefighter who, I guess, unfortunately passes away, probably work-related. I'm not quite sure because I haven't seen the movie, but his father, of course, is held in very high regard by all of his station mates or his colleagues. And Steve Buscemi plays Papa, I guess, fire chief or firefighter working at the same fire station as Pete Davidson's father. And, just sharing fond memories, I guess, to try and motivate Pete Davidson to kind of make him have that switch from, loafing on the basement couch to, being motivated to go and find his way in the world. And I'm sure that there's more to it, but essentially the, tagline is it's a slacker movie with heart.
Well, we won't be talking about that film over on It's Not That Bad because it doesn't qualify as a 76% tomatometer over on Rotten Tomatoes. So, and the thing is, I'll be very honest. I'm not the biggest Pete Davidson fan. I know we talked about it a bit when we did our Grading on a Curve. This was years ago and we were talking about Marmaduke, but this film feels like more of a passion project and a very hard, kind of like how when Buscemi did Trees Lounge. Right. This feels like it might be Pete Davidson's Trees Lounge. So I'm absolutely willing to give this a watch. You have piqued my interest. But a film that I will pass on as we wrap up our picks here. And I feel bad because it's written and exec produced by an actor that I absolutely admire and thought he could do no wrong. But when we're talking about the movie Roxanne, starring, written by, and exec produced by Steve Martin, it feels, I feel bad for picking this. Like, I love Steve Martin films. I do. I think he's fantastic. This just didn't do it for me. It's a modern day retelling of Cyrano de Bergerac. He's basically a fire chief in a small town, and he's trying to win Daryl Hannah's heart. But he's got a big old schnoz. That's it. That's your story. And I get it, but you take a look at his movies around that time, movies that he was a writer and exec producer on. Three Amigos. We've talked about this film. It's classic. It's a classic. And LA Story. I love LA Story. LA Story to me is one of Steve Martin's best films of all time. Roxanne doesn't rise to the occasion in relation to Three Amigos and LA Story. Like, I still think Steve Martin's a gem. I still think Steve Martin can do no wrong. The movie doesn't hit for me. It did nothing. And I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm just saying it didn't hit me personally. And that's why it's my pass. If someone out there loves Roxanne, I'd love to hear from you. I want to hear why you like it. Because maybe I'm missing something. But that's the beauty of the show, because we all watch and appreciate or not appreciate movies differently. All right, Carrie, before we go, remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and pass fire picks are.
I am keeping playing with fire. I will watch The King of Staten Island, and I'm passing on Planes, Fire, and Rescue.
Well, I am keeping Backdraft because there was not a damn bad thing about that film. It is fantastic. I'm watching Planes, Fire, and Rescue, and I will still defend that film. And I'm passing on Roxanne, even though it pains me to pass on anything Steve Martin. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there's a topic that you want us to cover on Keep Watch Pass, or a movie you want us to cover on It's Not That Bad, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And be sure to subscribe to the website when you're there, so that whenever we put a show out, you get notified the minute it drops. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.